Hello and welcome to Caching Waves. This is the Bitcoin update. Just wanted to zoom out on the 4 hour to show you the multiple options available currently. I am pretty biased at the fact that this is a complex correction more than any sort of impulse. Obviously, my mind can be changed based on what sort of reaction we get to the upside once we get conclusion of this correction. But I have this as the possible top of the A, and then we get a flat pattern for our B, and we can move correctively to the upside. And what that would look like is once we get a move up, this would become a three-wave A. We keep moving sideways, That becomes a larger A wave. We then get correction, and then we get our C wave up here. And that's how we move correctively to the upside to around like 40K. These are not the conditions I would like to trade in, but if we get them, we'll have to work with it. But this is very hard to trade these because all you're getting is complex corrections to the upside, and you're expecting it to drop at any moment, any one of these conclusions of ABCs. So it's difficult to trade, but we can get some clarity when we get a larger connecting wave like this, where we move sideways and we're not impulsive whatsoever. So paying attention to that, my current bias is we get a move up to between the 50 and the 618 of this 5-wave pattern I have to the downside, and then we get a connecting wave down as an ABC. And this is actually a complex three-wave pattern, and we topped over here rather than here. But if we go from here to the upside and make new highs, then I would say that we topped over here. It just basically defines where I pull my fibs from. Now let's zoom into the lower time frames just to give you a relook at what we have. First of all, from this top, have a leading diagonal as a wave 1. We then had our wave 2 between the 50 and the 618. Then we had 5 waves down that reached the 1.618 extension of wave 1. We had a deep fourth, and I conclude that our A wave completed over here in the bearish scenario. We had 5 waves clean down, made a slightly new low, but this only happened on Bitstamp. I can't see this in any other exchange but Bitstamp. That's why I'm using it as the chart. We then had a 3-wave move. I have this as a W. It's a flat pattern. We then had a complex correction for our X, and we either completed over here, and we need to make that downside towards 22K. We either completed over here, and this can be the Y wave as a ABC as a flat, or that was just the first 3 waves of an A wave looking for a C wave up as either 5 or again another complex correction. So you can see it's very difficult to trade these areas. Now I'm still long at the moment. If you want to check the description, I've been doing live streams just to see where the count's at for this. If you want to check that in the description, I'll link to it if it is running. Just leaving the trades I'm currently in as a live stream. If you check my channel, you'll see all the trades I'm currently in. Working on getting a couple streams up of everything I'm in. I can't do everything at the moment, but I will get there eventually. But at the moment, we had this flat pattern up. We had a 335 and holding the 786 currently. Now, if you watch my videos previously, this is an ABC in here on lower time frames, a double zigzag. Sorry, WXY is a double zigzag down at the 15-minute level. We had a I think it was right down. Trying to find it again. I know I went over this in a second video, but a separate video. We had an A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then an ending diagonal. So it was an ABC here. And this was a diagonal to complete. which gave us our W wave. We then had a complex correction in A, B, C, or a WXY. That connector in between, that was a tough one. And I think a couple videos we were considering this is technically complete as the correction, but didn't like the length of it or the look of it whatsoever. I think I got stopped out, slight loss in this area. But anyways, let's go to where we are now. If this is heading to the downside from here and we don't make a new high, what is this whole thing in this area? Because it's not impulsive. There's an ABC here. That's a three wave to the upside. This looks like an A, either a flat, or we'd have to count it like this, where we get a flat in the middle, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4. It falls apart there. So this looks more like a ABC with a flat in between. And we had a ABC here. It looks like a ABC as well here. It's very complex, as you can see. It's not impulsive whatsoever. So when I see things very complex and I ask myself the question, how do we come to the downside? What I would expect to come to the downside from here is either this is an A wave here, we're getting a B wave to the upside, and then we get another complex correction. We just keep moving correctively to the downside. Or alternatively, this could be making a leading diagonal. Since we started with 5 over here, we need to end in 5 to come down and complete to that 22K area. On linear scale, down in this area, it's 21. On log, we're heading down to about 22K. So how can we get there if this is bearish? My head goes straight to a leading diagonal. We get a 1, 2, working on a 3, come up, overlap with the wave 1 here, which we're not quite at yet. So we'd expect this to come up like this, and then probably finish in 3 for our 5th. And this would channel in here. As you can see, like this, and then we would expect obviously our ABC correction up, and then look for our short from there to the downside. So I should be able to, if we get this leading diagonal up in this area, when we come down, come back up, I should be able to bail out on my long trade in slight profit unless we do a liquidity grab below this level. My stop is right here at the moment, but I also want to leave myself open to the fact that this could come more complex to the upside. I know it doesn't look very bullish at the moment, but just pay attention to this area. You can see how we get like repeating patterns. We come up, it's more of a fractal. Look at this area, look at this area. It's almost exactly the same, right? We can come up for our spike, then drift sideways, then make another 5 waves up as a flat, right? Up to our Y. So the way I'm going to handle this is I will, once we make a new high, I'll put my stop at this low, and if we make new highs following that, I'm going to pivot up to each pivot as we make new highs to protect this trade that I'm currently just slightly underwater on. So that's how I'm going to play that, and then if we start breaking from there, I'll look for that leading diagonal and look for the short after the correction of the leading diagonal. So that's how I'm going to play both sides here. But as you can see, it's very difficult to trade at the moment, and it's going to be difficult if we have made a low over here and we're going to the upside, you know, challenging 40K above new highs in a corrective manner. Because at the end of the day, when this completes, if this completes, this all just becomes a larger W or A wave as we get 3 waves here complete. you can see patterns within patterns. So if we do make that and drift sideways, that's when I'd look to take a long, but it will be very difficult to trade. You're trading more of targets than patterns at that point. But we got to take what we can get in this and go from there. But if you want to watch the live stream, I'll make sure this is streaming later on in the evening. But as of right now, looking for this, I'm going to leave this here to overlap. Let me do it like this. Looking for this to overlap with the wave 1 if we're making a leading diagonal, then come down, come up like this before I'd want to take a short. Again, I'll protect this long. Either if it plays out here, I'll try and exit and flip short from up here, or if we get this Y wave from this low, I'm going to start raising my stops just to protect this trade. All right, guys, so that's Bitcoin. I hope I didn't overcomplicate things. There's a lot that can be going on here. At least we'll get some resolution soon. But I prefer that we just get the downside. I don't care if I break even on this one or lose a little bit, because I really want resolution on this to the downside. Because if we get upside again, I will take that short, because we're right between the 50 and the 618 of this move. But if we come up, spike that, and don't get that fast rejection, and we just start drifting sideways here, make a nice long correction, again, I'm going to have to switch to upside. So we'll see what we get. A lot of options, and keep an eye on that live stream. I'll post the link below once it's running, and thanks for watching.